Hey everybody, and welcome to a little tutorial that I'm going to do regarding how to make a magazine cover. So I thought I would enlighten you and show you what I've got so far, and I think it's kind of fitting that I am working in my background right now is a couple of framed magazines. As a Duke basketball fan, I've got a couple Sports Illustrated covers that I've saved over the years from their national championship. So why not have something like that going on? So here's what we're doing to get started with this. I'm doing a Vikings themed magazine cover. And so this process will probably take about 15-20 minutes. So just kind of hang out and watch me kind of go through this whole process for you. So originally what I did is I started with this picture. So the size of the document was 8.5 by 11. And with this picture, there was some other details in here. So what I did is I clone stamped all of this additional area so it looks the same, so it doesn't look like it's completely cut off. And so what I did with that piece was I just used the clone stamp and went through here and just kind of cleaned up all of these areas as much as I could. So I'm going to go a little bit bigger with this and try to clean up these areas as much as I can, just to get rid of those extra lines. So you can see some of those little spots. And it doesn't look great right now, but as we go through this, um, all of these little areas will look a lot better because a lot of this will end up being covered up by other details that I add in later. So this is kind of our starting point. Now the next thing I want to do is I'm going to add in the logo for Sports Illustrated. So what I want to do here is create my magazine. Um, so we'll start with, let's see here, desktop. I've got a lot of different things on here, but we're going to start with this. And so let me kind of show you what I'm going with on this one. So I'm going to start with this, okay? And here's what I'm going for. So this is an actual magazine cover, and I want this one to look like this. So I'm going off of something, adding some details, and making it look somewhat similar. So this is kind of the way I'm going about this. So I'm going to be referring back to this one throughout the process. So I've got this piece. And so with my Sports Illustrated here, I want this probably in the background. I'm probably going to have to make it a little bit bigger. So what I'm doing is I can scale it. There, hold on here. I can scale it. Now if I press the Option key, see how if I don't press anything, it just scales from there. If I press the Option key, watch what happens here. So it scales it from the middle. And so now I've got something that's probably going to work a little bit better for me. And I want to overlap the edges just a little bit. Then I hit return. So now I've got this part relatively close to being finished here. Now, once that part's done, now I can go into some other little edits that I may make. And so I've got this piece. I'm going to rasterize this. I don't necessarily have to, but I want to. So I've got that part taken care of. Now I'm going to go in here down to the effects. And when I go into these effects, hold on here. And I got to move this over. Sorry, I'm kind of in my own way here. And so I'm going to go into color overlay. And I want to figure out what color I want to make this. And so it's up to you what you end up going with. I could go with a purple, maybe go with something like that, which would be fine. If I want it to stand out a little bit more, I might just go with white. And then click OK. The next thing I want to do is I want to pull Anthony Barr in front on top of. So I'm going to go in here and use the quick selection tool. That's probably one of my favorite tools to use. Now I can hide this if I want to, and then I'm just going to go in through here and try to get as much of this selected as possible. So as I go through this, and to be honest with you, I probably don't even need to select much. I probably just need to select his head because that's the only part that's going to overlap the logo. It doesn't have to be, and when I say logo, I mean the Sports Illustrated. So I get this selected. Again, I don't really need to select all this, but I get a little detailed when I go through all this. Okay, so I got almost everything that I want selected. I'll go back in here, clean up this area, clean up the number. Everything that's pretty important, it will be in here. All right, now I think I'm about done. I don't want to spend too much time on it. So then, next, I'm going to go edit copy, edit paste. And so now I've got this new layer that shows up right here. Now here's my Sports Illustrated. I'm going to move this right above it. And now I've got that part taken care of. And so now I can take this layer and move it anywhere I want to. So it's up to you where you end up putting it, but now it fits pretty good. If I don't like it, I can just go Command Z, and now I'm back to where I want it to be. So I've got these two set up so far. Next thing I want to do is when I look at this, I've got this redeemed on there. So what I want to do for mine is I'm just going to go with menacing. And so I'm going to type menacing. And I'm going to go change it to white. I'm going to make it bigger. And the font size, I'm going to end up changing that. Now this is obviously below it, so I'm going to raise this up. And so now it's in the front. I want to change this font. I don't really like this font, so I'm going to go with something else that I downloaded. And I'm going to go with, let's see here. I'm a big fan of New Athletic. Here we go. So this one's pretty cool. So I'm going to go with something, maybe go a little bit smaller. So I'm going to press the Option key. Try that again. And then it shrinks it from the middle. Okay. And so I might even want it to take a little bit more space. So I'll go with that. And I see how these whites kind of blend into this background. So I want to clean that up. Now there's a couple different ways I'm going to go about this. I'm going to go into Window, and I'm going to go into my Character window. And I want to change the spacing to 50. So I go into my Character window, and this is just going to spread the letters out a little bit more. It just looks a little bit nicer from my perspective. And then I'll close this guy. So in here, I want to go into my effects, and I'm going to try we're going to go outer glow. Okay, now obviously that looks horrible. So we're going to go with more of a black. Click OK. And I want to go more subtle with it. So I'm going to go maybe go a little bit more. Okay, that might even, I mean, you can see how much better it looks now. I mean, you could see it a lot better, so that's good. But I might not want it that black, so I'm going to go a little more subtle. So you don't really see it, but you do. So there we go. And just so you can see the difference, there it was. See the difference? It really pops out a lot better now. So that looks pretty good. The next thing I'm going to do, so I've got my color overlay, outer glow, and again, if I want to, I can go back in here. If I want to add a color overlay, I can go in and add something else, but I think I'm pretty good for right now, because if I look at this other design, okay, so I've got that. I do have a yellow. We're going to go with more of a better yellow, so we're going to go into effects, go into color overlay, and then I want to find a color that's probably going to be pretty good, because if I try to find a good yellow in here, it's kind of tricky to find the right color. It might be too yellow or kind of greenish. It might be too orangish. So my trick is I'm just going to go with this, grab this color, and there we go. And now I've got a pretty decent color. So that part's set. Now the next thing I want to do is I'm going to write, let's see here. With this, I've got special edition, special digital cover. So I'm going to add something like that in here. So I'm going to grab the type tool, and I'm going to go up here again, and I'm going to go special digital cover. And now when I look at this, that's pretty spread out. So in fact, what I might even do is I might take this, and I'm going to stretch it out, and I'm going to hold the Shift key. Then back press return. Now again, what I want to do too is space this out some more. And so one thing that I added that I haven't talked about yet is I added this smart guide right here, so it shows me where the middle is. So if 8.5 is the width, I got it at 4 1/4. And so what I do is I grab this, and then I can add some smart guides in here. If I don't want it, I just pull it off to the side. Now, in order to add that, I need to have my rulers. So I just go View, Show Rulers, Rulers, here we go, Show. And since it's checked, that means it's on. So then I'll be able to access this, and I can pull this down. I can even pull pieces down in here. Totally up to you. So that's where I'm at right now. And you can see right now that this isn't even lined up properly. So if I wanted that, I can use the right arrow just with the cursor. Sometimes that takes a little bit too long, sometimes it doesn't, but there we go. Now it's centered perfectly. Now with this piece, I want to make this pop a little bit more. So I'm going to go into my character window. Sometimes I've got it here, otherwise I've got it in here, window, character, and then I can check it that way. So I guess I do have the 50 on there. If I want to spread it out even more, I can go with something like that. So now I'm pretty good there. Now I want to pull this up, so I'm going to press the up arrow. And then what I want to do with this, let's see what colors I've got. I've got the white, and then I've got this little line right there. And so when I do that, I usually just, there's a lot of different ways to make this. But for mine, what I want to do is, I'm going to just use a little rectangular marquee tool. And so I'm going to go pretty skinny with this. And I just go a little bit outside of that. Okay, make a new layer. And then I want to grab the right color. And so it's up to you which colors, what you think is the right color. I mean, it could be this one, it could be that. And then all I want to do now is, whoops, I don't want that. Let's try that again. Paint bucket, fill it with color, and now I'm good there. So now I've got that piece. Now I want to bring this up a little bit and then space it just a little bit better. So now it's centered. And then I'm going to grab this piece and move that over. So now that's centered. So if we look at these two, that looks pretty good. Next, zoom out. And so I've got that piece completed. Menacing, I might even move that down a little bit more. And I'm just using the down arrow. So I've got that. Now the next piece that I want to add is, I've got to add a little quote on here. So I'm going to go with something like this. And now let's move this over, grab the hand tool. Okay, so I've got that piece up on the top done. This part's done. And I want to add a couple other little pieces in here. So what I want to do, I've got to come up with some other idea that I can use for these two. Now this is lowercase, this is uppercase. So that might play a role in what I'm trying to do here. But I'm going to type in here, so I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And then I'm going to grab the type tool and I'm going to write the Vikings playoff run. And what I might even have to do is be careful of spaces, because those are going to get in the way and it's going to throw off your spacing. So I've got this piece and I want to make this a little bit wider, and I'm going to stretch out the font just a little bit so it matches the top font up here. Be careful when you stretch fonts, because if you stretch the fonts, you want to keep them consistent from this one to the other one. And so now I'm going to have something about like this. Okay. All right. And the reason I wanted this a little bit lower is so it doesn't blend into his arm. So now I've got that.